Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Storytime Cakes. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make this delicious fluffy vanilla cake with pipe rosettes. So, let's get started. Okay, so for the vanilla cake recipe, we'll be needing 350 grams of caster sugar, 400 grams of flour, a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And for the wet ingredients, we'll be needing 3 eggs, 200 milliliters of oil. You can use any oil, but I prefer canola oil. Just a dash of vanilla, about 2 teaspoons, and 300 mils of buttermilk. So it's really important to use buttermilk and not milk, because buttermilk just makes it all that more fluffier. Start off by adding in the dry ingredients. The list of ingredients will be in the description box below. Make sure the flour, baking soda and baking powder is sifted so your cake will be nice and smooth, and then just mix it on medium to low speed for about 30 seconds. Next up, we're going to add in the wet ingredients and mix on medium to low speed for 3 minutes until it's nice and combined. Don't over mix it because the batter is more light and fluffier that way. When it's over mixed, you'll find that it's more dense. Perfect, so this is the consistency we're after. I'm just pouring the batter into a 9-inch cake tin and using a bit of a lift and drop method to burst any bubbles. Bake for 170 degrees Celsius for 1 to 1.5 hours and repeat this process 3 times to make 3 vanilla cakes. So now that the cakes have been chilled, I'm going to get an 8-inch board, so it's slightly smaller than the 9-inch cake, a sharp knife, and I'm going to cut around the crust of it using my 8-inch board as a guide to where to cut. Look at that gorgeous vanilla cake inside. The second step now is just to cut the top part of the cake to make sure it's all nice and leveled, and so we can get rid of the caramelized top part. You can leave it on if you like the caramelized, but I'm gonna cut it off. Now I'm going to show you how to make a delicious fluffy batch of vanilla buttercream to go inside your vanilla cakes. I have 6 cups of icing sugar, some vanilla essence, unsalted butter, make sure it's not salted, 250 grams, and a 1/4 cup of milk. Melt the butter to room temperature and beat the butter for 2 minutes on medium to high speed until it's smooth and creamy. Now add half a batch of your icing sugar, mix for a minute on low to medium, and then add the remaining half and mix again for a minute. Once the icing sugar is well mixed, add 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence and a 1/4 cup of milk. Mix again for another 5 minutes. Okay, so this is the consistency we're after, soft but sturdy enough to hold up our roses. So now I'm going to frost a vanilla buttercream cake. I have here a turntable, a non-stick mat and an 8-inch board. Hands down, one of my favourite parts of baking is that satisfaction of watching cakes being creamed. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite part of baking a cake is. To get the top part of the cake nice and level, I like to use the bottom side of the cake because it's nice and straight. I'm just going to place it on. Frost the outside of your cake with a delicious batch of vanilla buttercream until it's nice and coated. So here's a handy tip for you. Smooth any excess buttercream with your spatula into the center to get that nice smooth finish. Here I have a large coupler and a 1M piping tip. So you're going to be needing these 2 items and also a piping bag just to prep for your rosettes. I've pre-made some buttercream. I've dyed it dark pink. And I've popped the coupler in and also the 1M piping tip. Now you don't have to have a coupler, but I do recommend using a coupler because if you don't have a coupler, over time as you kind of add pressure to the piping bag, you find that the icing kind of slits out. I recommend practicing your roses on some baking paper before you start the cake. So apply pressure, then lift the icing tip up, begin swirling, then as you reach towards the end, slowly release the pressure. Gorgeous. Mark your cake with a spatula or ruler. I've added 2 lines as a guide for how far up to swirl my roses. Apply pressure, lift, swirl and then let go. Make sure you give a bit of room in between the swirls. I also use the same piping tip to fill in the gaps, adding pressure and then letting go towards the end. When you start the second layer, make sure you start in between the 2 bottom roses and repeat the steps for the 3rd layer. For the top of the cake, in a circular motion, you want to pipe starting from the outside and working your way inwards. For any gaps, simply pipe mini flowers with the same tip by holding pressure, then letting go. And there you have it, your vanilla buttercream rose cake. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do happen to make this cake, please share it with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see and share. As always, happy baking, and I'll see you soon.